everybody. Welcome to Olympic Minds Leadership Beyond Limits. This is a podcast for the leaders of leaders, the visionaries. It's for those leaders who want to go from mediocrity to mastery and from success into significance. It's for the leaders who understand that leadership is way beyond theory, something that you read in a book. This is about people who have lived leadership and know leadership from the perspective of wisdom. So wisdom is that perspective of knowledge plus experience. And I'm your host, Sherry Winn, two-time Olympian, national championship basketball coach, CEO of the Winning Leadership Company, author of 5 leadership books. And today we're going to talk to Tara Lafon Gooch. I had to make sure I said Tara, not Tara. So Tara. And so let me tell you that I interviewed her. Let me go backwards. I did not interview. She interviewed me for a podcast. So let's go backwards. She interviewed me on her podcast. We had such a marvelous time. I really loved her. And she is an author, she's a speaker, she's a podcaster. And what's wonderful about her is that she is one of those people that you want to know. Like, she's one of the people you want in your positive circle. She's one of the people that you want to talk to. She's one of the people that will energize you. She's optimistic, she's fun-loving, she's authentic. And let people learn a little bit more about you, Tara. So tell them what they need to know about you beyond that I really, really like you and admire you.
Well, thanks, Sherry. I appreciate it. My name's Tara. I'm the CEO of Best Branding Solutions. It's a branding and marketing agency for thought leaders. And we started that through my own journey of leaving corporate America, finding and aligning with my calling and purpose, and helping other people do the same. Beyond that, of course, as an entrepreneur, I wear many hats, just like Sherry. I'm also a 2-time best-selling author, working on my 3rd book right now. I'm a podcast host as well, of the Host Grasp Confidence podcast. And GRASP stands for GRASP, Gratitude, Responsibility, Action, Site, Purpose. It's a 5-step framework that I created and used to transform my life. Now I help others do the same.
Cool. So let's start with the idea of gratitude. Right? How powerful is gratitude, and how do you use gratitude on a daily or weekly basis so that people understand what is gratitude, what does it look like, and how do you practice it?
Absolutely. I think for such a long time, people thought and associated gratitude as like a buzzword, a feel-good emotion, something catchy and popular, right? But there's so much science around gratitude now, and it can even be applied in leadership. So I'll start with the science. We know that our brains have this neuroplasticity component to them, right? We can mold them and shape them and change. We can change. We're not fixed, right? So the power of gratitude is that it does encourage neuroplasticity. It helps us rewire our brains. And if we can rewire our brains, we can form new beliefs. If we can form new beliefs, again, we can transform. So this is so important. So not only does it enable neuroplasticity, but it also creates the feel-good chemicals like serotonin that help us feel better. We feel more elevated. We feel happier. And this is so important. Now, it's important for ourselves to live a better, happier, healthier life, right? But it has a resonating power for others. And if you're around a complainer, how do you feel, Sherry? You feel drained, don't you?
Ucky. I'm just going to use the word ucky. You feel ucky. Yeah, you feel bad, right?
Drained, yes. So I like to tell my daughter, I have a 9-year-old daughter, that when we complain, it's like taking coins out of the piggy bank. We actually lose, right? But if we express gratitude, it's like putting a coin in the piggy bank.
Right.
So this is so important, especially for leaders who are guiding organizations and teams, that you want to be seen as a grateful leader. If you're seen as a grateful leader, people are more receptive to your message when you talk to them. Right. They're more open to receiving guidance from you and, discussions from you.
Right.
This is really important because again, for so long, we thought of gratitude as something only within us, but it really has a resonating power.
Yeah, the energy, right? The energy of it. It's so different. So if you're complaining or you're blaming or whatever you're doing, if you switch to gratitude, like in seconds, you feel lighter, right? Yeah. And so it's just the ability to just go, thank you, thank you, thank you. So I was sitting out, I like to be in the nature. So I was sitting in nature with this campground for 2 days, nobody in it, just us, and the whole thing was empty. And I was like listening to the birds, I was listening to the crickets. I was like, oh, this feels so good. I could hear the trees, like the breeze kind of moving the leaves. I was like, oh, and then people moved in. So mad. I was just so mad. I was like, I can hear them talking. Why don't they go use our quiet? I mean, I just started like, and I was like, wait a second, where did my gratitude go? These people, they're here, like they came for a different reason. And their reason was because there's 3 groups of people came in, they all converged like right across from us. And they're sitting outside, and they're being loud, and they're being noisy. I'm like, they didn't come for the same reason. They came for a different reason. And let me be grateful for the fact that they have found something that they can enjoy with one another, that they can have friends. And I had to change that whole mindset because I was getting so grumpy. And so they didn't ruin it for me. I ruined it for me, right? And so gratitude can change all that when you just start having the ability to see something good in whatever's around you. Right?
Yes, absolutely. It's so key. And there's a lot of emotional intelligence that goes into this as well. If we think about as a leader, starting a conversation with someone, I know in my past, when I worked in corporate, I would have leaders come to me and say, why isn't this done this way? And they would start a conversation like that. Mm-hmm. Now, in my mind, what does the other person do who's on the receiving end of that message? Their brains go into fight or flight mode, don't they?
Survival.
Mm-hmm. And we're thinking of now, instead of hearing that person, we're thinking of, am I going to lose my job? I just bought my car. What about my mortgage? Oh my God, my kid's health insurance, ... I would challenge any leader listening to this show to really examine how you start a conversation. Right. Because, for that receiving person, that those words go into their ear, to the base of our brain, which is not a high, level of programming, through the limbic system, which is the emotional center of our brains, finally reaching the final destination of the prefrontal cortex, which is the logical center. So right. Our brains can't help but feel first. That's how we're designed. So instead of approaching a conversation that way, approaching a conversation with a bridge of gratitude for that other person, mm-hmm. Now they are receptive to what we're saying as opposed to defensive. Powerful. And
I would say that's even true if you don't even say it out loud. Yeah. If you don't start with the gratitude purpose of, hey, thank you for doing this, let's talk about it. But starting with going in with gratitude, like internally, what do I like about this person? What do I like about this person's work? What has this person done? And you may not have to say anything to the person, but your energy shows up differently.
Yeah.
Right? So if you come in and you're a little bit irritated or a little bit angry or a little bit overwhelmed and you're bringing that to the conversation, they feel that. Even if you didn't say the words, there's still a feeling, there's an emotion, there's that energy of emotion passing between the two of you. So if you can start with a different emotion, right, then it shows up in the way that you present yourself. It shows up in the words that you say, the eyes, how your eyes show up, how your veins in your neck don't pop, how you're just showing up. And I think it's so important that we understand that whatever energy we bring, it's something that people are feeling, even if we don't say it, they're feeling it. So walking in with, why do I love this person? And I don't mean love in the sense of like romantic, but why do I really love this person? Why do I like the work they do? Give me 3 reasons to think about this person positively before I have this difficult conversation. All of that changes how you show up, right?
Yeah.
So let's go back to your GRASP framework. And you said a big word, which to me is purpose.
Ooh, yes.
Purpose. Like finding that purpose. A lot of people, I feel, don't walk around with good purpose, right? I mean, they're just kind of like trying to fit in somewhere and they don't know why. They don't feel full, feel energized. So talk about purpose. How do you help people find their purpose? And what ways do you help them navigate that? Let's talk about that a little bit more.
Absolutely. It's almost an industry right now, purpose, right? There's a lot of self-help books about this, a lot of courses out there about this. With purpose, it was something that was always really elusive for me for a long time. And in fact, I never really considered me having a purpose. It just never crossed my mind, which is almost really difficult to believe right now. Because I've gone so far in my journey, but there was a point in time I never thought about it, never crossed my mind. It was just, I'm going to be successful and I want to do whatever that looks like. So for me, it was go the corporate route because I just associated that with success and stability and normalcy. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to do that. And I never considered, what am I really good at? I never considered what my strengths are, what I was passionate about. So I did the thing that I think people think is successful, and I don't think I'm alone in this, right? I got my MBA because I thought that was expected of me. Not because I wanted to or thought that it would fulfill me in some kind of way. I didn't consider myself in that equation at all. And for a long period of time in my life, it was kind of that, same path of do it because it's the right thing to do, not because you want to do it. And it wasn't until I branched out and started my own business and went full into entrepreneurship did I really take a deep dive in saying, you know what, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And that's still a mantra that I use every single day. If nothing changes, nothing changes. And I say that about almost everything, right? And I just really wanted to create significance in my life, whatever that was. For such a long period of time in my life, I didn't believe in myself. I didn't know what I was capable of, right? And we listen to the outside voices, don't we? We listen to those voices that say, you're too much, you're not enough. Right? Instead of what does my inner voice say? So I think, for purpose, it's a journey. It's not a one-time event. You don't say, well, I found my purpose. It's usually an unraveling, right? And I liken us all to onions. We have many, many layers, and it takes time to reach the center. But that's part of the journey of your purpose, of your life, of finding fulfillment. It's not immediately going to the center. It's what you're learning along the way and how that shapes ultimately you into being the person that you're called to be.
Yeah, so you said initially purpose was about success, stability, and normalcy.
Yeah.
so you were equating purpose with success, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times that doesn't, and so we're not fulfilled because we think that success is going to be equal to purpose. And when we get there and we're still empty, what most people do in the situation, Tara, is they go, well, obviously I need to do more so I can feel that feeling we're looking for. So if you're diving down to help people figure out purpose, how do you help them get there? Because they're going to be confused, right? They're saying, well, I'm successful. I've done this, this, and this. I've made this kind of money. I have 3 houses. I've done, I've led a company. How do you get them out of success mindset into the purpose mindset? What kind of questions would you ask, or what kind of exercises do you do? Tell people really boil down to like, this is what it feels like. This is what I know comes out of me.
Yes. What are your values? Understanding what your core values are. Again, that's nothing I thought of before when I was living my life for somebody else. But I started to understand what do I really value in life? One of my core values is freedom. So freedom, right, for me, may not look like working for somebody else. It may look like starting my own company. But again, could be different for everybody. Sure. And then I started paying attention to what do people compliment me on? Which is kind of a funny thing, because a lot of times, I feel like, especially as women, we dismiss people's compliments and we say, oh no, not me. But really listen to things that people are saying. Really listen to them and pay attention. What are people complimenting you on? What are you good at that is easy for you? So this would be a strength. What are you good at that's easy for you that is difficult for somebody else? What does that look like, right? What gets you out of bed in the morning? What lights you on fire? This could be something that really makes you your heart full or breaks your heart in the case of like a social advocacy or something like that. Pay attention to those things. How, when you think about, just the world, how would you solve it? How would you solve some kind of issue, some kind of problem in your own way? Through your strengths, through something that makes you feel alive. And again, this deepens over time. So for me, it was, what did people compliment me on? I really realized people were starting to compliment me on my writing. People were also complimenting me on, in the case of my podcast, they were complimenting me on my interview style. I've had so many people compliment me on how did I grow a platform. All of these things were easy for me that made me feel fulfilled and alive, gave me a sense of purpose, but then I also use those same talents to help other people do the exact same thing. You're listening to an audience and solving a problem for them proactively. And then, that's ultimately how you can make money by aligning with your purpose and creating a calling, a movement around it.
Right. I think you're right. I think that we're confused so oftentimes, and we don't know how to find purpose. Like I always have been purposeful. Like I was like, coming out of my mom, I'm like, gonna do this. Like I didn't have that problem, right? I aligned with it really quickly. What was my purpose? To be an Olympian. Like that was just like, boom, put the blinders on, go there. What was my purpose? To be a coach. Put the blinders on, go there. What was my purpose? Well, then it was become like, I want to write books. I want to really impact and influence people in a positive way. Like that for me was easy. So to listen to you talk about like how you had to go through the process of really being, I think, heart aware. Maybe that's a good one. Like heart
that's a good
aware.
word.
Like, because we're tapping into, like, we're listening to all the things that other people tell us, and we're not tapping into the heart awareness. And so it's like that thing that people say, which I didn't get earlier, is you had to be an observer of yourself, right? You have to be outside yourself, kind of looking into yourself so that you see yourself in a different way. And if we can be heart aware and be an observer of self, I think we can learn a lot about ourselves, right? If we could just do more of that. So when did self-awareness, like that whole piece of like learning who you really were, listening to what you're really telling yourself, when did that start being a thing for you? When did that come into your life? It sounds like you're teaching your daughter that already, so kudos to you, yay. But how did you learn to do that? Where did that start for you?
It started at my lowest point. And I had to really fail big time in order to get there. And, I think this culture that we live in, we're terrified of failure. We're terrified of it. We don't want to go through it. But I feel like failure is almost a gateway to get you to the success that you want to be in. If you don't want to fail, you must not want to be successful, because it is a stepping stone, really, to success. So in 2022, after I quit my corporate job with no backup plan, by the way, which I don't know if I'd recommend, but it makes a great story. It does. It makes a great...
Cortez, burn the ship behind you and you got no out. You just got to keep going forward because you don't have any backwards thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of like a burn the boats scenario, right? And I left. I like to tell people this story because it is inspirational. And if you had one more thing than I did, you're already much farther ahead than I was. I had a company car, so I left a company car behind. So I didn't have a car. Company laptop gone. Cell phone company gone. What else did I have? No health insurance gone. I left it all behind. Salary gone. Because I said, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And I really wanted to see what I was capable of.
Mm-hmm.
And entrepreneurship is the mirror. It's the ultimate personal development mirror. And it shows you the good, the bad, the ugly, just like our mirrors do, right? And I really took that lowest point of me asking myself, am I good enough? Can I do this? Am I smart enough? Can I figure this out? But the stats say this, Sherry, 90% of businesses fail in XYZ and and all the data is in my face telling me this is not going to work. Right. But what if it does?
Mm-hmm.
And even though a preponderance of evidence was telling me that it was not going to work, I said, what if it does? And I
love what ifs. What a lovely place to live, right? Instead of what if it doesn't, what if it does?
What if it does?
Yeah. It's a great way to teach. I was just talking to one of my coaching clients, and so I don't coach a lot of athletes. I do coach some. It's not, usually I talk to CEOs and C-suite executives, but some of these people are just they get into I don't know how they get into my awareness, but they just come. And so this is a golfer, and she is, on the road to being a pro golfer. And so we've had a lot of mental problems, a lot of mental obstacles, right? Not problems, mental obstacles. So one of the things she said was she would get into, she'd hit the ball and she'd hit it bad. And then she'd go, oh no, that means, now I'm in trouble and I've got to do this, I have to do this, and all this pressure. And so we started the what if. And this is the thing that I love is what if, would it be really cool if I made this? Wouldn't it be really awesome if I did a hole in one, not a hole in one, but that I could par even off of this? Wouldn't it be awesome if I hit the green from here? Wouldn't it be in that kind of what if scenario? And so think about that, how it gets you excited, how it transforms you from the negative, like you're talking about, from the, oh man, this is so hard. And if 90% of the people fail at business, but what if I'm the one that makes it? What if I'm the one that transforms the people around me? What if I'm the one that writes a book that really, even if it's one person reads this book and it changes their lives, what if I'm the one, that energy shifts everything, doesn't it? I mean and we don't even know, the words we tell ourselves. We're not even aware of all that, but the energy shifts into the what ifs when they're positive. And you can play that anytime. You can play that what if game anytime. You can shift a what if to the positive, and that gets you more excited, doesn't it? It gets you excited versus what if I fail, and what if this doesn't work out, and what if I, it's the what if down thinking. You can shift a what if up thinking at any time. It's just training your brain to shift. So, yes. Tara, what do you do to help you train your brain? Because it's only the people that train their brain are the ones who really get what they want. Other people let their thoughts think them. And then, the people who really train their brain to think their thoughts, those are the leaders, those are the individuals, those are entrepreneurs that are able to get to where they want to go. So what kind of habits or rituals do you have that helps you train your brain?
I love that. It goes back to gratitude, right? And that's why gratitude is for me the first step, because it does rewire our brains. So this is why it's so important, because most of our thoughts are negative, right? What is it? Upwards of north of 85% of our thoughts every single day are negative.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it is insane, right? So this is the normal average person. So how can you turn that 85% and turn it into positive and invert the number as much as possible? I'm not going to say this is going to be a complete flip, because that's not realistic. That's not how our brains work. Our brains are wired for survival, not success, right?
Right.
So it's not about flipping the number completely and making negative thoughts zero. I don't think that world exists, but what we can do is minimize it. So I like to think of it as a remote control. We can turn up the volume on negative thoughts, like you're saying, right? Or we can turn down the volume on negative thoughts. When a negative thought arises in our brain, I like to call this my ninja moves and mindset tricks, right? And I honestly...
The ninja moves mindset. Everybody, you got to write that one down. Ninja moves mindset.
Yes, the ninja moves mindset. Picture a little ninja in your brain. Every time a negative thought comes in, I kick it out. and I replace it as soon as I can. As soon as I tag it, name it, and identify it as a negative thought, because I feel like you have to name it to tame it, then the ninja comes in and replaces it with a positive thought, a thought of gratitude, a thought of what if it could actually be this way, right? Mm-hmm. So instead of, me launching a podcast, let's say, and saying, oh, who's even going to listen to this? Is anybody going to listen to this? Just like what you said, I hope this reaches the minds and hearts of XYZ people, and start visualizing yourself doing this, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where the sight in my GRASP framework comes in, is the visualization of that. So when I declare something, you know what, this is actually how it's going to be. What if it goes this amazing way? Then I start visualizing and training my brain and saying, you know what, this is what it's going to look like. Now, how is it going to feel when I reach that goal? How's it going to feel when 1 million copies of my book are in 1 million hands of people? What does that look like? How does that feel? Right. And you start doing this over time, and you see that your negative thoughts do diminish and decrease, and you bring the volume down on them.
Yeah. I think that's really important to note, like, we're not going to get to zero. It's not how our brain works. Like you said, it's wired for survival. We're like trying to survive. And so we still perceive threats everywhere. Somebody says something to us and we're like, oh, ow, like we're going into defensive mode. We're like, or we're running or whatever we're going to do. But we can really shift our lives, really shift them by just paying attention to the thoughts that we have. I mean, imagine right now people could go from like that 80% of negative thoughts to 60%. What would change in your world if you could do that? That would be amazing. I love it that you said you got to visualize it and then you have to feel it. I think that some people miss that part. The vibration of something, like we can visualize something maybe, but that's a key. But that thing that you just talked about was the feeling of it, like getting your energy aligned with it. I think that's a challenging part, right? So for example, like I've had chronic pain for a long time. I've had health issues forever. Let's just say not forever, since 35. It's been a long time. And I'm not 45. So let's just say that it's been a while. And so you got to think about so now I've trained my brain is to wake up and just be mad. Like, oh, I hurt again. Oh, this hurts again. Is this ever going to be over? Blah, 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 right? So how do you go? Like one of the questions I had was like, how do I start loving my body from where it's at? Because that's an energy shift, right? And so the question would be, how do I align, you could visualize, I could see something, but how do I align the emotion of that, of loving my body when it's like not working, right? Because people are going to say, well, it's not working. Like, how can I love it when it's not doing what it's supposed to do? And I think that's the hard part. So Tara, how would you tell people, like, how can you get to that feeling of something? So the visualization helps, right? But how do you get the feeling of something? How do you align emotionally with what you want? That's the harder part. It's harder for me. Maybe it's not harder for everybody, but it's harder for me. So when you don't have it, you're not experiencing it, how do you get to the opposite feeling of it? Because you have to get there, right? Before you're going to experience it, you have to align your vibration with it. So how do you teach people to do that? Or how do you do it?
Oh, I love that. Well, one of my clients is a former pharmacist, so I will use his wisdom here. And, the placebo effect is really powerful. We know that the placebo effect has been shown in study after study after study to be as effective in some cases as actual medication. How is that possible, right? Well, our brains, our minds are very, very powerful. And it's interesting that if we start to, and if you could practice this, right? If you say, you know what, this sugar pill, you don't tell yourself it's a sugar pill. That's the whole point. But this is going to give me XYZ result. And you believe it. Mm-hmm. You believe that it's actually giving you XYZ result, or this pattern, this habit, this behavior is going to get me to XYZ result. Right. This thought process, meditation, whatever you decide to align yourself with, and you believe it's going to happen. That the hardest part, I feel like, is the belief.
Agreed.
It's understanding that anything is truly possible and not limiting yourselves to a basis of logic, because I think that's really important. Logic, it's more of certainty beyond logic.
Right.
Because again, going back to the business analogy and me saying, well, 90% of businesses fail. That's logical. But what if it doesn't? That's certainty beyond logic.
Right.
Now I have to embody the person that makes that possible. So it's interesting, right? Because there's so much information out there about how to attract what you want in life, right?
Right.
And I'll just use this as an example. I was listening to a podcast a couple weeks ago, and it was how to attract your soulmate. So there's an example. And they said, okay, well, I want my soulmate to work out. I want them to be fit. I want them to speak multiple languages. I want them to be cultured and love food and do this. So then
I'm glad that you don't have very many demands on your list.
Great.
Girl.
I know.
Well, good for you, because if you don't have expectations, if you don't believe that, then nothing will happen. So that's great. Okay, go ahead.
That's right. That's right. And then you take that list and then you become them.
Right.
The same for leaders. I want to be this type of leader. I want to lead this size organization. I want to have this size team. My team has this number, that number, this whatever. You take steps to become each of those qualities and watch as you start to embody them. And the same is true with us as individuals as well. Again, if we are looking to become a different version of ourselves,
right,
it really does start with the mind and starts with the belief system. And I think it's, could be even as simple as celebrating small wins along the way, that if you reach a certain mile marker, it should increase your faith and belief in yourself. And make sure to document them and write them down when you are facing things like imposter syndrome, negativity, self-doubt, whatever, to look back and reference those wins that you've had that you probably otherwise would have negated.
Yeah.
Right?
It is right. And what I love what you just said is like, you have to understand that anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
There has to be a belief. If you don't have it as a belief, if you're just defining things through logic alone, right? So you read a stat, you believe the stat, right? Yeah. Or you look at somebody else's life and you believe that their life is also your life. Well, this person didn't survive X, so therefore it means I won't survive X, right? You have to understand that you have to get into the mindset that anything is possible, right? And that's a hard mindset to come by, because that means we have to take our past and go like I can get beyond the experiences of my past, right? We have to learn that we can do that. The past doesn't have to be my present. And so tomorrow can be something totally different than today. But it's really believing that. And that for some people that becomes faith. For some people it becomes spirituality. Some people it becomes a religion. Some people it just becomes, whatever you want to. But what I learned to believe in that is I read tons of books that align with that. I started reading books that align with that thought. And, I started training myself to find miracles every day. So it's a training. People go, why do you see that as a miracle? I'm like, because it is. It is. It's a miracle that my body still works. It's a miracle that I wake up in the morning and then my body is functioning a lot of it on its own, right? My blood is running through me. The liver's getting rid of the toxins. My heart's beating. I don't have to worry about my heart beating. It's still working at so many different levels. And so I start the day going, my body's a miracle. And I have to watch my language, because then I might say, oh, this hurts. Why does it still hurt? This is not fair. But I think that you have to create your own beliefs. So one of the things you talked about right there, Tara, was believing anything is possible. So a thought is just a thought. It's just a thought until it becomes a belief, right? And so when you're training your thoughts, you're training your beliefs, and you have to train your beliefs into belief of what you want to see, right? That's the challenging part for most people, is continuing to train your thoughts on a daily basis until your thoughts become a belief. So what are some of the great podcasts you listen to, or the books that you listen to, that have helped you on your transition, right? From that person who was questioning and doubting all the time and listening to the unworthiness voice, which we all have. How did you get past that? What books can you recommend to folks, or what podcasts would you recommend to folks to help them start training their minds to a belief system that is going to enhance their future?
I love that. Yeah, one of the first books to really change my life is called The Science of Getting Rich, published in 1910 by Wallace D. Wattles. And in that book, it was so much more than just getting rich. I think we read a book like that to gain success. We read a book like that because it has the word rich in the title, and that's, a goal. But the book really did change my life. And it wasn't so much how to get rich, it was more of how to develop a mindset that allows and attracts wealth. So it was, when I started realizing that I could surpass my current and past circumstances, that I was not fixed, that I could actually become whatever I wanted and that anything was possible, and started to believe that in myself, is when I started taking more chances, a different set of risks, but healthy ones. I started to change my environment, right? Because your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. I started to clean up my diet. I started to meditate. I started to do a lot of healthy exercises and practices that allowed for the reception of abundance in my life.
Right.
That really created a foundation for me to become confident,
right,
to grow my business, right? Because I do believe, Sherry, that opportunities are coming at us all the time, constantly.
Right.
But if we don't have the mindset to receive, it's like a horse having a carriage behind it and it has blinders on. It can't see the opportunities. It doesn't mean they're not there, they don't exist. It's just that we have blinders on. So that book really helped take the blinders off for me and realize the abundance all around me. And a lot of it is in the opportunities of connection, such as meeting you, my friend Sherry Winn.
So how much is important? For me, I'll say for me, it's super important that I every day feed myself something positive.
Yeah.
That's super important. How I navigate my mornings is super important so that I stay there. So if you're talking to somebody like a leader right now and you're saying, hey, look, here's some things that you would do on a daily ritual or a weekly ritual. I think it's daily. I don't think you can miss a day. I can miss a day. If I'm in nature and I feel like I'm connected to God, I'm connected to all the beauty, I'm connected to all this stuff, this wonderful stuff's going on. So for me, when I get in nature, sometimes I don't do my daily ritual. My daily ritual is just enjoying the nature, right? Just being grateful for everything in front of me. But what would you say to a leader who's saying, man, I really need to get that Olympic level mindset. I need to get this place where I can believe in the impossible, because so many times, especially right now, there's a lot of people going, this is impossible. We can't navigate through it. We don't know how to navigate through the challenges that are coming at us. What would you tell them to do on a daily basis that would help them get to that place? Let's say you have 30 minutes. You only got 30 minutes. That's even a lot. For a lot of leaders, that's too much time. Let's say you got 30 minutes. What would you tell them to do in 30 minutes?
I would start with their morning routine. I love how you said that. So I would examine that. A lot of people wake up and immediately look on their phones, look in social media apps, and it starts comparison. It starts contrasting. You're comparing yourself against every single person out there. So you're automatically starting out with a negative mindset. It's a consuming mindset, not a production, not a creation mindset. So I think one of the first things to do every day is not to consume, but to create first. And anybody can create something that's meaningful to them first thing out of the day, and whatever that looks like for you. And if you have a passion, if you have a hobby, before even starting work, before checking your emails, start thinking of something creative. Maybe you're a poet or a writer and you just want to create a little poem first thing in the morning. That's a really good start to the day. It's starting your creativity right throughout the day. So I would say look at your morning routine. How are you starting off of your day? Start it healthy. Start it with a creation mindset as opposed to a consumption mindset. I would also say watch what you're listening to and watch what you're putting in your ears and consuming.
Right.
If you're listening to a lot of negative news, if you're listening to a lot of, just scary stuff out there, I'm not saying you need to live under a rock, but it's all consuming, right? And honestly, we get inundated with so much negativity right now. So I used to have the news app on my phone. I deleted it because it was just making me depressed and sad and anxious, right?
Right.
And every time I would open my phone, it would be a horrible news story, and I had to delete it out of my life. So much happier after that. So, part of it too is just like paying attention to how things make you feel.
Right.
And then to coincide with that, instead of listening to maybe the radio, listen to books on tape. All of this can be done even while you're working out. So steadily replacing negative behaviors with positive behaviors and just like habit stacking positives are going to have such a tremendous impact. And you don't have to do this all at one time. Don't get overwhelmed.
Right.
If you're more sedentary than you'd like to be, then try to get a 30-minute walk in at lunch and start there.
Right.
Right? Get a standing desk instead of sitting for 8 hours, just like one habit at a time, and start habit stacking. And you will be a much happier, much more fulfilled and successful person in a short amount of time. And then you start doing this and keep doing it. It'll compound just like interest in the bank. And watch as the opportunities, the success, the people that you need just start pouring into your life in unexpected ways.
Right. It's amazing, isn't it? It's just
amazing
what you can do in a short amount of time. Yeah. Tara, this has been unbelievably amazing. I love it. Like everything that you're talking about, I call the Olympic level mindset. Like all the pieces you're talking about, it's what makes a difference in everybody's life. Whether you're a leader, whether you're an individual, it doesn't matter. Like what you just told people, this is golden. I mean, take notes, people. Go back, re-listen to what you just said. And note, she's got books. Go find her books. Go listen to her podcast. This is a person who's going to bring you that. Like if you're not in a space where you need to be, Tara can help you get there. So Tara, tell people how they can find you, how they can locate you. If they want to read a book, if they want to listen to your podcast, if they want to find you, where would they go to find you?
Yes, I'm all over social media. So I'm pretty much on any social media platform, Tara Lafon Gooch. I'm on LinkedIn a lot. I have a podcast. It's available on 30 plus channels, mainly on Spotify and Apple. Mm-hmm. And then beyond that, my books are available on Amazon.com. So you can find me readily pretty much anywhere.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, hey, everybody, take the time, subscribe, listen, share this with everybody, and have a winning day. Bye now.